This is me getting punched in the face. And this is JJ Dashnaw, stunt coordinator from Spencer Confidential. It wasn't that hard to get this shot because I was actually getting hit. And yes, it hurt bad, by the way. Legend has it that that's how a few movie punches were done in the beginning of the medium. But now, most of the big, cathartic, painful-looking punches that you remember are actually intricate, carefully planned dances between performers and camera, choreographed by a guy like this. He'll help us break down all the many steps needed to capture the perfect movie punch. And fighting God's willing, help us fulfill a dream by filming our own. So the heroes in the Boston action flick Spencer Confidential solve crimes and right wrongs and drive all-black vehicles.
Two grown men running around playing Batman.
But they also punch people a lot. Our unofficial fight score came in at 68 punches thrown throughout the film. There's even a subplot about learning how to punch.
Turn hips. Boom. Turn.
That makes Spencer Confidential part of a beloved American tradition. Great movies with great punches. I mean, you probably already have a favorite movie punch, right? I do, actually. Da 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 da. But punches didn't always look that way. In the earliest days of film, there was a school of thought that on-screen punches should be more real. Possibly because the static, unforgiving cameras of the era exposed performers when they tried to pull their punches or aim at a shoulder. Funny thing though, the beginning of the movie punch as we now know it, the one that looks good but doesn't hurt anyone, was actually ushered in by legendary tough guy John Wayne. He and his longtime on-screen adversary invented a system of film fighting, the pass system, that effectively hid missed punches. So we ended up with harmless, but brutal-looking punches like this, and eventually this. Although, to be fair, some performers have a high tolerance for reality.
I've done movies like Broken City where punching people with no gloves, or Four Brothers, and that's why I got broken bones in my hands now.
But how? How do we get real-looking punches when the actors aren't hitting each other? This is where the dance comes in. That is, action, reaction, angles, and edit all moving together for one explosion of punching passion. Action, of course, refers to the punch itself. For any kind of realistic result, the person throwing it has to have some kind of credibility. So we looked at the writings of the ultra-credible heavyweight champion Jack Dempsey, who said that all you need for a good punch is for your lower half to set your weight in motion and your arms and fists to deliver that weight to a target. Okay, easy, right?
No. What we try to teach actors and anyone involved in the fight is to set the punch up first. I try to get a good foundation, just like in any sport, whether it's baseball, whatever. All your power and strength comes from right here. So if I'm going to throw a punch, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to do that. I'm throw, and if I'm going to throw a left next, before I throw it, I set my feet and I'm ready for it. I make sure that this is ready and cocked and loaded to throw that. Otherwise, if I just come and throw a punch like this and this is off balance, it looks really weak. And it's also a little bit dangerous because you're off balance, and that's when you can tag somebody.
So you might be tempted to think that one punch is as good as any other, but punches have personality. They can reveal an aspect of character, like how these sharp, wild punches show Spencer's rage at his corrupt captain. But punches are also part of broader trends in public taste. John Wayne & Co. used flailing haymakers. I mean, seriously, they have a wind-up like a baseball pitcher. Because they're theatrical and read well on camera. But as society got wise to martial arts, more recent movies like the John Wick trilogy have moved towards more realistic action. Which punch you throw is a question for the coordinator and actor to answer, and in Spencer Confidential, they answered it by putting realistic boxing techniques into jailhouse brawls, and I'm there for it. But whether it's a mighty wallop or a surgical hook, a good actor is nothing without an equally good reactor. You need a partner that can dance.
You can throw the best punch. If the person messes the reaction up, it's no good. That's why the eye contact is so important. That's why the spacing is so important. That's why me and you are in sync. When we're fighting, we're acting. And if we are not in sync or we're not doing it the right way, it doesn't work.
It's like our brains are somehow trained to understand the underlying physics of a punch. We just instinctively know that the angle of the reaction has to be the exact same as the angle of the punch, or it'll look wrong. Just like we know that a tiny jab doesn't usually knock you loopy unless you're fighting a superhero or something. Energy needs to be proportional in your reaction. And cause always precedes effect, of course. Don't be like me and react before the punch, people. But besides jerking your head and body around, it's the little touches that make a reaction. Maybe I've watched this movie too many times by now. But Mark Wahlberg is weirdly good at making you think his nose is broken. Like how he checks the bridge here to see if it's straight, or how he subtly blinks away tears after a hit there. It's good stuff. But even if you punch like Tyson and act like Brando, there still might be a gaping hole in your punch scene. See, safety dictates that performers stand apart from each other. You shouldn't be able to touch shoulders.
Even though it looks like you're hurting someone on screen, the major and most important thing is that no one gets hurt.
But with certain camera angles, any gap between performers is exposed. And this was the problem with old movies. So the camera needs to be part of the dance too.
When we have the actor going in, we're getting his coverage, that's when we'll really set up hero camera angles to make him look awesome and make the punch look awesome. So say we're doing Mark's coverage on, let's say, taking a punch and also giving a punch. We'll do a tighter angle right here, so let's move you around right here. I'm gonna have you give Mark a punch first right here, so we'll get to see his face getting punched right here, so let's bring that arm out, boom. We just saw that Mark got punched in the face right there. And also from this deal, we will have Mark throw the punch and we see that it's his face, so it works really good for this, especially for his left. I'm open to the camera, I see, bam, and you go out and you would probably go this way and you just see that follow through. You get that hero moment that he just, knocked the crap out of somebody.
It's a great magic trick. From here, the camera essentially compresses the 3D space between the two fighters into 2D, a trick which you'll see repeatedly the next time you watch an action movie. Even at a quote-unquote safe angle though, the camera can still expose you. What you just saw is an example of failing to break the string. Try to imagine there's a string that runs from the lens of the camera directly to the face of the person getting punched. It might sound basic, but for a punch to look like it connects, that string needs to be broken by your swinging fist. In other words, the punch needs to cross over, like this one does here, for the illusion of it to work. Which brings us to the edit of a fight scene. We could spend an hour on what editors do, but if an on-screen punch is like a dance, editors are like the DJ. They control the rhythm of a fight. They can shine a spotlight on a certain dancer. And maybe the coolest thing they can do for a punch is to warp time around it. By subtly increasing the speed of a clip around the point of contact via a software tool called a speed ramp, or by actually removing frames of video, you can make a punch look that much more powerful and painful. And this one already hurt. But nearly as powerful is an editor's ability to reposition an errant punch. See, even with all the good techniques we've just explored, sometimes a punch is just a bit off. If that happens, an editor can use visual effects tools to literally move a fist to a better point of impact on the face. They just move it, and it's over so quickly on screen that our eyes can't tell something's a bit odd. Finally, audio happens in the edit. And I don't know about you, but I never really thought about how punches on film sound before this. But just listen. It's not just the sound of a punch. It's fabric rustling, wind whistling, bodies falling, voices grunting. There's probably more that I just can't hear. So while a silent punch may be beautifully shot and acted, it's basically like dead inside. You need sound effects. But much like stunt coordinators and punching style, sometimes sounds fall out of fashion. During the John Wayne era, fleshy sounds were considered dull. So punches were accompanied by the sounds of belts whipping or billiard balls cracking. Now though, there's actually a lot of food that gets mangled to provide a punch's audio track. Frozen turkey can sound like meat being pummeled, a green pepper has the crisp sounds of bones breaking, and if you punch a watermelon, you get something that sounds really bloody. By the way, how you hit them also matters. But don't neglect all those sounds around a punch either, they make it more real. Speaking of action, reaction, angles, and edit, we've covered the basics of making a punch look real. There's nothing left to do but dance.
That's how you throw a fucking punch!
Favorite punch of all time. Fight Club had a really great fight scenes. Maybe that scene where Ed Norton said, "I wanted to destroy something beautiful," when he like just destroys Jared Leto's face. That one was a pretty good one. Rocky had some really good fight scenes. Another face destroyed after every movie. Adrian. Those are some of my favorites.